Hey guys, welcome to Big Loss Official. I am here with the new log lift record holder in the women's class and the 2018 World's Strongest Woman, also the Rogue deadlift record holder, the amazing Andrea Thompson. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm tired, but I'm good. Thank you. I'm still buzzing, so yeah, it's all good.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
It was an incredible lift. I know when I sort of approached you, what was it, eight weeks ago? Something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and said there's this opportunity for you to do the log lift record. You were really nervous about it, weren't you?
I think it was more, how am I going to do this? I've got nowhere to train because at the time I was still bouncing around in the garden doing a bit of CrossFit stuff. And it was more, like, how is it going to happen? And it was just like 1,000 questions. But once you kind of just told me to stop flapping and just get on with it, I was nervous. But then once the training started, kind of got into the groove of it, really. So.
Good. No, you did amazing. I mean, I know how hard things have been for you, kind of leading up to this, but you haven't wavered from your training at all. You stayed committed to what you needed to do. For probably the first time since we've been working with each other, I think you stuck to the program 100%, which is a miracle. Yeah, but you really did do fantastically well, and I still believe you can do more. I really do.
Yeah, I did. I think because it was unknown as well. When you go into a normal competition, you know every event, you know what's going to happen, you know who's going to be there. So I kind of have my own level of confidence on each event. But because it was just one event, and you were literally solely in charge of every aspect of my training, I felt like I just had to trust you because I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. So I did kind of float maybe a kilo or two when I was having like really good days. Otherwise, I did stick to it. And just had to learn to trust you because I don't have very good trust issues. But it worked. And as I kind of it was progressing through the weeks, I then got a lot of confidence and thought I can get more than 130. I just needed to keep my head focused. Needed to keep eating properly. And the last training session that we had together, I felt great that day, and it was only because you stopped me that I had to stop lifting. So I could have gone on for more. But yeah, I think we touched recently on not going full whack in training, and I didn't trust you for that one. I was like, but I feel really good, and I just want to know what 130 felt like, because although I pressed 130 on a normal Olympic bar, I've never got 130 to my chest. So I was freaking out that I didn't know how that felt, because that gets really heavy when that gets to your chest. So that was I did it.
You did, and I was really proud of you sticking to it, because it is a hard thing to do, to trust someone else. And I remember, early on in my career, you want that confidence that you're capable of something. So when someone says you're not allowed to go to that weight until competition day, you're still in that unknown kind of situation. But one thing I do think it helps really well with is when there's a little bit of fear there, you try harder, you're more focused. When you've sort of done something before, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, I certainly have with training. When I hit a certain weight, you're over the moon about it. But then when you, in a few months down the line or a year down the line, if you go for that weight again, you just expect to do it. And sometimes that difference of your mental approach to a weight can actually affect how your outcome is. So sometimes that unknown just makes you stay a little bit sharper. It makes you stay a little bit more focused. And obviously the scientific side of it is just not overtraining. It's making sure that we get you to your best come comp day, and then your central nervous system is fresh. And like we saw, you're capable of breaking the record. And then you went on to smash the record with that fourth attempt, which was awesome. And I think you kind of touched on it there. When we did that last training session, you went, was it 125 we went up to? And that it looked so good, and you were capable of more. And we were discussing then what you should go for, because I think originally we were going to try and break the British record first and then the world record. And just watching you on that session, I was like, let's not waste time with the British record. We'll just do the bigger jump. So we went 110, 120, 130. And I know you believed you had more than 130 in you, but I wanted you to get that record first. You did that, and then you went on, and you were unbelievably good, especially to come back from a failed attempt and then get it. Because, like I've said so many times to Andrea, how important technique is. Andrea is without question one of the most gifted strength athletes I've ever met, particularly in the female side of things. But sometimes when you're really strong, and I've been guilty of this, particularly early on in my career, I was very guilty of this. You just go on with brute strength. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I started getting injured and making mistakes that I realized how important technique was. And now with all my clients, I sort of try and emphasize that. And I still believe if we kind of improve a few things, the sky's the limit for you. You can break that record again. You really can.
I'm ready to go. Well, I'm not, obviously not right now, but I'm ready to tackle it again. And I think in different circumstances, because trying to do a record in a small room with probably less than half a dozen people, and it's silent because you can almost hear everyone's breath on each movement. It's awful. It's horrible. And all I could hear was my own breath and my own heartbeat. And normally when you do these records, you thrive off the noise around you, the music, the lights, there's people everywhere. And that kind of adrenaline you usually feel off. So I'm very confident in the right situation. I can go for more. My technique, I know the brute strength thing. My log lift has always been one of the worst technical lifts I've done. I think because it's never really been heavy enough for me to have to think about the technical side of it. Even when I think it was a couple of years ago, World Strongest, maybe 2017, we did max log then, and I broke the record there at 115 or 117 kilos. And even then, I kind of just bicep cleaned it up and used a little bit of a hip thrust and got it up. When it gets to 125, 130 kilos, that's too much to bicep clean. So I really struggled actually, and it took a lot of you stripping the technique down to get that right. And then once it just clicked in the gym one day, and then the weight started to go up.
Yeah, it's probably halfway through this training cycle that you started to, because I know how nervous you were. But I mean, other than the coaching that I've helped you with, you've also taken on a nutritionist recently, haven't you?
I have, yeah. So of all the time I've been a strong woman, I've been a heavyweight, so I never really thought about what I ate. And at the very early stages, I got quite fat, I guess. And then I started to think about what I was eating a little bit more, but never really stuck to anything. I just stopped eating McDonald's all the time, that kind of thing. And when the lockdown hit, I know I'm an athlete and I know I'm strong and I know I look strong, but I looked in the mirror one day and I didn't like what I saw when I was naked. So I decided that lockdown wasn't going to make me a big blob and just unravel all the hard work that I'd put in. So I recruited Chris McLarence as a nutritionist.
Yep.
I just stopped eating like an arsehole, basically. he just, the first thing he made me do was to monitor everything I ate for a whole week. Yep. And I think I was on about 4,000 calories, and I thought that was okay because it wasn't crap food. It was just what was in my food and the portion sizes. So all the oils I used, the sneaky jam sandwich I would probably eat while I was making dinner, that kind of thing. The whole big bars of chocolate, because I do like my chocolate. And then he stripped it back and put me on 2,400 calories, and I nearly had a fit. And I was like, I'm going to starve. How am I supposed to cope as a strength athlete on such little calories? But it took a long time. It took about 4 weeks for me to take grasp of this new nutritional plan. And it wasn't a diet, because I said the numbers on the scale don't mean anything to me. At the time I was 110 kilos. For me to get down to the next weight category was a 30 kilo drop. That's not going to happen. So the numbers on the scale didn't really make any difference to me. I just wanted to look like an athlete when I saw myself in the mirror. and I wanted to feel good in the clothes I was wearing. So I've only lost about 3 kilos. So the weight drop hasn't made a massive, massive difference. But physically, the fat has gone, is going very quickly.
You can see around your shoulders and your traps at the moment. You look
Little
awesome.
lines here. What are they called? What are
The
those lines?
serrations.
Oh, I don't actually care. It just look really good. So, yeah,
Belts and traps and chest. Yeah, it looks really good.
I just wanted to clean up my diet, really.
Well,
And
it's definitely helped. I mean,
yeah, my
you know,
energy level has gone up. I'm sleeping so much better. My skin is cleared up because I suffer from acne sometimes as well, and that kind of explodes every so often. My skin is cleared up nicely. Even like my digestive system has all changed. I don't feel so bloated. I've realised I'm sensitive to dairy products and gluten, so those have been taken out. I've had to learn a lot in this lockdown about my body, as well as focusing on a world record. But I don't do things by half. So.
And for someone like yourself, coping with a family and then work commitments and everything else, because you don't do this full time, do you?
No. This is still a hobby for me. I do work part time. I'm currently homeschooling. One child has gone back to school now, so I kind of like that's half the pressure. But another child is still being homeschooled. So whilst she's doing her maths and stuff at the table, I'm trying to write emails and stuff. So it is a massive nightmare. And I'm still having to entertain her as well. So
I do. I mean, I've got 3 kids, and I feel for anyone that's been, it's great having kids, and they're so joyful, and love my kids to bits. But having them at home all day, every day, whilst you're trying to work from home and do other things, it's been extremely difficult for so many people. And then for someone like yourself who's trying to prepare for a world record on top of that, it must have been hard.
I mean, the kids, they're kind of familiar. When I told them what was happening quite early on. It's just second nature to them now because mum competes, mum goes off here, mum's doing this, mum goes to the gym. So when they know I've got something coming up, I tend to go to the gym when they're either at school or hubby's at home. So no one's really, their routine isn't really messed up too much. But they do understand that when mum has to go to the gym, mum has to go to the gym. Mum will always be back, and mum will usually come back with food because that's what I do whenever I come back from the gym. So they've adapted. They've adapted quite well.
Cool. They're all working around mum to make sure she's the best she can be.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel very selfish sometimes, and I say this to a lot of people when they ask me how do I do it. So you just have to be selfish. My Strongman career is unknown. The time it is unknown. I don't know how long I'm going to be doing it for. But while I'm still quite good at it, I need to be focused. As long as everyone around me is happy, I make sure I spend time with the children. I make sure that I'm home when I needed to be at home. But when I have to go to the gym, I have to take my mum hat off and put my gym hat on. And then I have to come home and put my work hat on. And it's like a stash of hats.
I want to see these hats. Right. Well, you smashed the record this weekend. It was an unbelievable effort by yourself. You broke the record by 6 kilos. What motivates you now? What are we looking at going forward?
No.
You've got the deadlift record.
I've got the deadlift, yeah.
Well,
So I think what I wanted to do was hit 300 kilos on the deadlift. But the deadlift that I did in March, actually, I'm still recovering from it, basically. I took a lot of battering from that. My knee, where I pulled the bar up across my knee, that's still actually quite bruised and swollen. It was sciatica in the left side of my bum cheek, plays up every so often that I didn't really have there before. So I get regular treatment for that. I think the log would definitely be something that I could get onto again by the end of the year, maybe. Yep. Add another 5 kilos onto that and go for 140. And that would really set the benchmark. The reason why I wanted to go for what more than 130 is because there are a handful of girls, and I know a handful of girls that are very close to getting that anyway.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have the record for at least longer than a couple of months. So my aim was to get 135. I know you wanted me to get 130.
I just wanted you to focus on the record first, and then I believe me, I know you're capable of more, and
Yeah.
it's about building that confidence. But I know what you're like, and it was just make sure we get that record first, then you can go for the bigger lift. And honestly, I think it won't be long, and you'll do 140 no problem.
Yeah.
And you have untapped potential. You really do. It's quite. For me, it's exciting, just being involved with an athlete like yourself. It's every coach's dream to work with like such a talented athlete, because you make the coach look better than they are. But there is things that I can help with, and we've been working on things, and we'll continue to work on those things. It's understanding that it's a process. And this is where a lot of people go wrong. They just try and rush things. And I mean, if you spoke about the deadlift, then we never planned on attempting a deadlift record. You were competing. Andrea, just for anyone that doesn't know, Andrea was competing at the Arnold Classic, the female class, and she broke the Rogue deadlift record as an extra event after the competition. I'd love to see what we can do. A fully fit Andrea just focused on that. That would be where we'd focus on something like 300 kilos.
Yeah. No fuss, no suits or anything like that. It's going to have to be, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it properly. I don't do things just because I can do that. I want to make sure that it's going to be unbeaten. I just want to have the limelight for a little while longer. I think with the trouble is with the rest of the way the world is going at the moment, I can't really plan anything else. I can't think about World's Strongest Women because we don't know if Florida is safe to go to at the time. And what else is after that? You've got the qualifier for the Arnolds in December. That should be okay to go to. But other than that, everything's just a bit unknown. So
that's the worst thing right now. I've spoken to a lot of the promoters and athletes, and it's so hard not knowing what you're training for. And I think these record attempts gave you guys something to focus on.
100%, yeah, 100%. Because I mean, in the little gym I was training in, I couldn't really do a lot anyway. As much as I really appreciate him for lending me the gym and keeping me sane, it's basically a squat, deadlift, and overhead, and the bumper plates I could get there, I could only get 190 kilos on the bar, so I can't really go for a heavy deadlift because I don't have enough plates and get them all on the bar. So yeah, that's basically, I'm quite limited to what I can do, even though I do have access to a gym.
Yeah. Well, hopefully things will kind of pick up and we'll start finding out about contests. I know you've been invited to the Worlds, but yeah, like you say, it's in Florida. Right now, the situation over there isn't looking ideal. So we can prepare for things, but there's no guarantee that it gets to November and that show goes ahead, which is very hard for all the athletes, I think.
Yeah, I know so many people haven't been able to train at all. And even if they have been able to train, again, it's very limited. A lot of people are doing squats off their garden bins, which scares the hell out of me because it's just like they're going to fall over. So many people have adapted. It's been crazy how people have adapted and have tried to keep moving. But what's also weird is that I only see this in like-minded people who are outside of the strength world, outside my bubble, I guess, have just given up.
Yeah,
just like they're quite happy just to sit around and eat themselves silly and not leave the house. And I'm just like, it's so strange how I, as an athlete or as somebody within the fitness industry, thinks compared to a normal person.
Yeah, no, it's very, very true. I think I think it comes back to if you want to do something, you make it happen. And it's very easy. I mean, it's been very hard for a lot of people because obviously, when we were really in a strict lockdown, there was very limited areas that people could go to. Obviously, you could go for a walk and stuff like that, but unless you had like a private garage you could go and train in, or it was your own gym, it was very difficult for people. And I think for us, I guess, for us involved in the industry, we almost treat this like a job. So it was like, try and keep training and doing something. I mean, I've done almost nothing, but I'm not competing. If I was still competing, that would have mentally destroyed me. And I think for a lot of you, that's what's just kept you going, being able to do something, being able to focus on something. Because
Yeah.
I mean, when I was competing, it becomes everything, and it's a strange feeling. Like now, where training isn't as important as it was, or competing isn't as important as it was, because for 15, 20 years it was everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously I'm still involved with all of you guys, but from a personal perspective, it's been almost nice just to relax a bit and just train for general fitness. It's I think we can all.
It's just getting out of the house as well. Some people have just found just not being able to get out of the house really detrimental on their mental health. So and I, for one of them, was getting really annoyed at just bouncing around in my garden and not having the freedom of getting in my car and going somewhere to train.
Yeah, I think it must have been terrible for people with no gardens or anything like that, because I mean, I'm lucky. I've got a nice, a decent sized garden. I know you have, but if the kids were just stuck inside all day, every day, God knows what I would have done. As much as I love them, that stress, and hopefully the government soon realise we need to open up the gyms. We need to let people train, and just be sensible about how we kind of progress with this situation, because I don't think it's going to go away quickly. We just need to adapt and make sure we still live kind of active lives, because obviously being fit is actually a benefit to fighting these kind of viruses and things. So it's mind-boggling to me that they're opening up pubs but not gyms. But hopefully in a few weeks everything gets opened up again. Well, we won't go into that.
Hospitality industry as well. So it's definitely about the financial side of it. I mean, we're going to talk politics now. They've given so much away, like with the whole furlough scheme. They're going to want that back somehow.
Of course.
And as much as I want the gyms to open, the virus is still out there, and people are still getting ill. So somebody has to make a decision about each sector somehow. And we as gym people really want the gyms to open, but supermarkets,
people working in beauty, and there's hairdressers and stuff like that that's still,
we're all fighting against somebody who has to make a decision at the end of the day.
I think pretty much everyone's been affected in some way, so it's a tough situation, but we'll keep plodding on. We'll keep focusing on lifting and sport, and it's just a distraction from all those serious things. I think sometimes it's quite nice.
Yeah, definitely. And surrounding yourself with like-minded people, positive people, makes a massive difference. And I was just want to go back to the lift. I was really grateful to have Lisa and Farah there. I hope that the video comes across as.
It looked like you guys were having a great time. The three of you just enjoyed it.
They were so good, because I know them really well outside of the gym, and we've been to many parties and stuff before. They're just relaxing people.
Yeah.
They were not treating the situation any different, apart from when I was actually ready to go. It was relaxing to have them just giggling and talking random stuff next to me.
Do you think that helped? Because I was watching on the commentary, it just looked like you looked focused, you looked like you knew what you're there to do, but you looked relaxed, you looked like you were enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely helped. I mean, Farah's laugh is so infectious anyway. And yeah, it did really help. It helped having familiar people there, because I didn't really know the gym that I was at anyway, so and it just helped the people who were there. Just they were just amazing, and they knew what they were doing. We kind of had a plan before we got there. I said I don't want any mistakes. The loading needs to be done properly, because I just literally need to lift that log. I don't want to know how much is on there. Just need to know that what's on there is the right amount.
Yeah.
And they had it all written down. They had the plates side by side.
There was no misloading or anything like that going on.
Misloading. So grateful for my loaders. So yeah, they were spot on, absolutely spot on. Really.
How was it having Zadrunas digitally refereeing you from obviously he's in Lithuania, you're in England? it looked like you were holding those logs for a good amount of time.
I think there's a little bit of miscommunication because I thought we were going to have like some test down commands. So the first 2 lifts, I was just standing there holding that, like, so then I realized, I think again, because of the pressure and try not to think that thousands of people were going to be watching me, it's just a bit of miscommunication really. But once we got to the record, I don't actually think I heard him. I think I just saw his hand do that. And then on the second of the 135, when I cocked it up, sorry, can I say that? I've said it now.
People have said worse on this show, it's fine.
Yeah, all I could hear was the girls shouting, and I knew I just wasn't steady with it, and I got really angry with myself. And I don't really get angry. I'm normally quite a calm, placid lifter. I've really got on my bloody nerves because I was only there to lift that 135. So taking that time to readjust and go again, and then I heard him, but again it was a slight delay, but I had actually been practicing holding the lift anyway.
Yeah, we made sure we worked on that.
And we'd done a lot of core strength, so I knew that I could hold it for longer than we really needed.
Well, it was a brilliant lift. I was going to say, because obviously I've just been doing it. I've been doing the commentary from my own home, just where I'm sat now. How big is the screen that you see Zydrunas on? Is he on like a big screen, or is it just a computer screen?
It's just a tiny little.
So you can't really see much at all. Just a little screen with his hand going down. That's pretty difficult.
Yeah, it was, because I could see myself as well. So there was him there, and then there was me at the top. So I mean, it was quite close. It was a normal sort of laptop screen.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of like 2-3 meters away.
Brilliant. How did you find working with the guys from the World Ultimate Strongman? Because obviously there's been a few things said recently. We won't go into it, but as you know, you're an athlete. How did you find?
They have been amazing. Right from the very first communication when I was invited to be part of it. Even today or yesterday, still communicating with them. And it's just been constant. I've been involved in like group chats. I've been involved in all the emails that have been to and fro.
We lost you. Sorry.
That was my Wi-Fi probably just. So yeah, they've been absolutely amazing, and they've been really supportive. And again, I was flapping with them. I was trusting with them about not being, I can't do this. The fact that I wanted to take my own log as well, because I was unsure whether the log was the right size, and all the things that I was flapping about beforehand. And they were so good. They're just, I worked with them, they worked with me. We kind of met in the middle. They were really good to the girls that I had supporting me as well. They've been absolutely amazing. And the support online has been like overwhelming from them and from everybody else that's kind of shared it. So I don't have a bad word at all to say about them.
That's good to hear. That's really good.
All athletes.
Yeah, excellent. That's really good to hear. Last thing I want to just kind of get off you before I let you go and enjoy your evening. If obviously you've won World's Strongest Woman,
yeah.
Is there any other contest you want to win, or do you want to win another world title, or is the records more that you're focused on right now? I know I asked you earlier, but you kind of focused on the records. I wanted to know if titles still mean as much to you, or is it just the records you're after now?
Tell you what, I've won World's Strongest Woman. I never set out to become World's Strongest Woman when I started my journey. I've won it. I've got nothing to prove to anyone anymore. It's, not taking it away from anyone else. It's won it multiple times. You don't got nothing to prove to anyone.
Yeah.
But I do find that the shows don't necessarily show off an athlete's like strength, because it's and especially the way that OSG is going, it's very CrossFit-y. CrossFit games, there's lots of running around, and it becomes more of like stamina and all that kind of stuff. I'm a strength athlete, and I don't like running around. I can move with heavy things, but I don't like running and moving too much. So me personally, I think I would want to focus a little bit more on records. I might try my hand at powerlifting.
I was going to say, are we going to get you into the powerlifting?
I might do. I don't really know. I don't really know. I'm quite happy to do records at the moment. This is quite fun.
You look really happy and healthy and relaxed right now. It's awesome to see.
Yeah.
You seem like you're in a good place.
Yeah, I do feel, I think when I've got a competition, I get so anxious, and like having a small family and having to arrange life for 5 days when I'm away, and it just takes so much out of you. And just to focus on one event means I've got more time to think about everybody else rather than just myself. So I think that's probably helped.
Like you said earlier, I think being an athlete, it's a very selfish thing. You know,
Yeah.
we do become very selfish, and it's nice when you can sort of get that balance right. You know, there's people think a lot of the strong men are making millions, and they're really not. There's a handful of guys making good money. That's it. The girls don't get much at all. Most of the guys don't get much at all. You know, people will be surprised. I mean, prize money is improving, but only for those top places. You know, if you're not kind of getting top three in a major contest, then you're probably funding your own way there.
Yes. That becomes a massive pressure as well.
Yeah.
You know, you do tend to, you find that I think 2 years running, well, I've nearly paid it off now, but my credit card was just maxed out completely, just getting myself around the world to these competitions. And you kind of have to start thinking to yourself, is it worth it? Yep. Is it worth getting yourself into debt over? The money side of it for women has grown so much since I've started, or even in the last couple of years. The Arnold professional show, there's money for the girls there. When Rogue put up the Rogue record breakers for us, there was prize money there. We are starting to get paid. It's a fraction of what the guys get, but that's the society that we're in at the moment still, unfortunately. But it's there, it's coming.
What's the prize money for the women's Arnolds?
$5,000
for first prize.
Yeah.
I think the men's is about 70, isn't it?
Yeah.
For first prize. Okay.
So it's not even in pounds.
Yeah.
You get like 3,000, about 800 quid.
Well, the Arnolds and the World Ultimate Strongman in Dubai are the highest paying men's contests. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I've won plenty of international shows where I've been lucky to walk away with £1,500. It's only recently starting to get better, but it still is those top few places, and it drops very quickly. There's not many guys that can honestly say they're doing strongman professionally yet, but the sport is growing each year. There's more fans coming involved. There's more opportunities becoming available, and hopefully it will keep growing. Hopefully the women's side with girls like yourself and Donna and some of the lightweight girls as well. Because when I started, there was no strong women at all. You know, there was no contests. It was literally, there was a contest. They had Britain's Strongest Woman, and I remember watching it, and there was one or two athletes competing there most of the time. There was Gemma Magnuson, who was very good, and then one or two girls that were just, they just did a bit of training in the gym and turned up to sort of give someone for Gemma to compete against. Whereas now, I mean, yourself and Donna are two of the absolute best in the world, both from the UK.
And that's pretty good. That's pretty good standard, I think, that we've set there.
Yeah.
You know, we're the two strongest in the country, two strongest in the world. We hold multiple records between us. The middleweight and lightweight athletes, the ladies as well, are from Britain.
Yeah.
So I reckon we are very strong. We are probably the strongest women in the world coming from Britain right now.
We've got a strong nation in general. I mean, in the last couple of years, I'll be cheeky and throw myself in there winning Europe's. Got Eddie Hall, who won the World's Strongest Man. You know, we've got all you girls that have just won everything. And now we've got a new crop of guys as well, with the Stoltmans and Graham Hicks and Adam Bishop. And, you know, we've had Terry Hollands, Mark Felix. We've got an incredible strength nation. So it's good to see. And hopefully, you know, people like yourself are going to keep inspiring girls to get involved. And I hope I've inspired a few guys as well. And I know the guys that are competing now are inspiring plenty of people to get involved. So I think British Strongman and Strongwoman is in a very good place.
Definitely. I mean, I'm a walking advert for it. You know, I talk about it all the time. My girls talk about it all the time. And I think what's weird for me is that people find me inspiring when I'm just a normal person. I still find I'm a normal person, you know, just started my journey out just to try a sport that I would stick to, or an exercise I would stick to. And since then, I've stood up in front of hundreds of people, and I've done talks, I've done seminars. I have a couple of that are planned this year already. Well, actually, they've been moved forward about 6 times, but you know what I mean. And people want to hear my story. I just find it bizarre, and I just
I know exactly what you mean. I find it very bizarre as well, but it's a nice feeling when people message you and say you've inspired me for whatever reason it might be, and that for me means more than any titles, and I know it does to you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't tell many people about the messages I get, because I think they're quite personal.
Yeah.
You get the normal, how much can you lift? Can you lift me above your head? But the ones who are really genuine, actually, you know, make my heart go, because they are pouring themselves out to me. When we were going through the massive commotion of the Black Lives Matter, I was showing so much love and support, and I hadn't done anything. I hadn't done anything on social media, and I think people saw that and took it as words of like discouragement, or you know, I wasn't kind of happy with the whole situation. So many people reached out to me and were like, we just want to let you know that we're still here, we still love you, you know, you're the greatest, this, and it just meant so much to me to have strangers, just complete strangers, reach out to me and just say those nice things. So it's not necessarily just on the strength side, it could be on the body issues, because I'm a big girl and I wear little tiny shorts. And
you do wear some tiny shorts, to be fair.
I do wear tiny shorts. Sometimes they get really tiny when they go up my butt. But women who have always been too scared to wear those tiny shorts are now reaching out to me and saying, thank you for wearing those shorts. Yeah. Now I feel like I can wear them too. And that's really nice too, you know. So it's just all sorts of different things that people will reach out to me. So it's really nice.
It makes it worthwhile, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Well, Andrea, I'm extremely proud of you for this week. I'm proud of you anyway. You know, we're very good friends, and as much as we sometimes have disagreements about things when it comes to training, we you know, you're a very easy person to get on with, and I know you're going to achieve plenty more in the future. If anyone wants to find you that doesn't know of you, where can they find you on social media?
Instagram probably, because I don't use my Facebook so much. Andrea Thompson _ Strongwoman.
We will put a link down below in the description.
And I'm kind of trying to sort my YouTube channel out as well, but that's just Andrea Thompson. So,
awesome. Well, congratulations for this weekend. It's been a pleasure having you on here. I'll let you have a week or two just chilling out, and then we'll get you focused on.
I'm ready to get started again on Monday. So
I'll send you your plan ready for Monday. It's good to hear. Andrea, thank you for coming on. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the chat with Andrea. If you want to check out her log record attempt, it's still on the Rogue channel now. You can look it up on there. And we will be back with more strength interviews soon. Take care.